Let's review daily homework page number 142. So I already have my name, date, and signature there. So let's take a look at the math. So 90.8 minus 26.2 is my first question. I'm going to stack that to find the answer. And I'm going to use the count back strategy just for a change so that I see something different. So the first thing I have here is I have 90 minus 20. So 90 minus 20 is 70. So I'm just going to put 70.0. So for my next question, or sorry, for my next place value in the ones place, I have 0 minus 6. Now, if I go to a store and I have $0 and I try to buy something that's $6, I won't have enough. What I would do is I would actually have to go into the negatives to find that. So in this strategy, we're not going to use borrowing. We're going to talk about negatives. So in this case, I'm going to say, I'm going to take away 6, and that's going to give me 64, because 70 minus 6 is 64. Now, the last one I have is 8 tenths minus 2 tenths. So if I have 8 tenths and I take away 2 tenths, I'm left with 6 tenths. So together, these numbers will make 64.6. So that's the count forward, count back strategy. It's a little tricky because you have to think to yourself, do I need to go back or do I need to go forward? My final answer, though, is 64.6. Number 2 is 28 times 8. Tricky question. So I'm going to divide it up into 20 times 8 and to 8 times 8. So I know 2 times 8 is 16. So 20 times 8 would be 160. Sorry, I'm getting off the page there. Let me work it over here where you can see it a little better. 20 times 8 is 160. 8 times 8 is 64. So if I put those together, I have 4 here. I have 120, right? 6 plus 6 is 12. So I'm going to put the 2 here. I'm going to carry the 1. And then we have this 100 over here with the other 100. So that gives me 224. So 28 times 8 is 224. Okay, number 3 asks for the number to be in standard form. It's 14,004. So 14,000 would look like this. And the 4 is just in the ones place. So I'm just going to erase that 0 and I'm going to put that 4 there. That's the standard form. Written form for this number 19090. Well, I would start off with this part right here, this 19, and that's 19,000. And then all that's left after that is the 90. 90 is not spelled exactly like it sounds. It's spelled 9T, not 9D. So just check your spelling. 19,090, though, is what we have there. Last question says that Mary's making Rice Krispie squares. Each pan she makes has 16 squares in it. If she has 25 people in her class and she makes 3 pans of squares, will there be enough to have 2 Rice Krispie squares? So the first thing we need to figure out is how many Rice Krispie squares will she need for each person to have 2, right? So there's 25 people in her class. And if each one has 2, multiplying by 2, we will need 50 Rice Krispie squares. Now, she says that she makes a pan with 16 squares in it, and she's going to make 3 batches of it, 3 pans of it. So that's 16 times 3. Well, I know that 10 times 3 is 30, and I know that 6 times 3 is 18. So 30 plus 18 is 48. She'll be making 48 Rice Krispie squares, and she needs 50. So nope, she won't have enough. She would have to depend on somebody not showing up to school that day. All right, make sure you do your Lexia practice and write down what you read or what you read and what you learned. All right, thanks guys.